Welcome to JoyNews Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. Coming up this morning, a grieving mother pleads for explanation for their death. Tragic death of her 19-year-old son at the Ewim Polyclinic.
When we got there, only for me to know that the medicine was 7 cities. I thought that 7 cities, and they don't have it at the facility there. You left, so we were chatting with the driver. When we got there, I met my boy. Don't have it at the facility there. You left, so we were chatting with the driver. When we got there, I met my boy.
Administered an injection instead, which tragically led to her son's death shortly after. The Central Health Directorate says Nelly will have to wait for her answers after a thorough investigation and autopsy scheduled for the next 2 weeks.
I don't think anybody feels the pain I'm going through. If not, any health service will not be sitting down.
Nellie Mills is grieving. She's unable to pick herself up after witnessing her son's untimely death at the Ewim Polyclinic in Cape Coast. She tells me that her heart is in flames and nothing will douse it until she gets satisfactory answers from health authorities.
I love the food.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
We recorded 15 cases. In 2022, it increased to 25. But as of last week, 2023, we have recorded 75 cases. And so that is a worrying trend. And so we have intensified education in the communities along the border so that they stay away from direct use of the water from the lake. And so this is what I was talking to them about. And I have tried to put in some interventions that will give them alternative source of water, because most of them depend on the water from the lake, and so it is a worrying situation.
He was also unhappy about the unresponsive posture of NADMO after 160 persons were displaced following the Akosombo Dam spillage.
You know, the spillage started from my constituency, and so some communities very close to the dam recorded some incidents. So there were basically the buildings that are made of mud collapsed, and we have about 50 of such homes that have collapsed, displacing the statistics from NADMO. About 160 persons have been displaced. The greatest effect, nets have been torn and all the fishes have escaped, a lot have died. And that is a huge loss to the people there. And it is a worrying situation that we are all trying to contain.
We can now speak with the Sojaman District Health Director, Rebecca Bante, for more on the rise in bilharzia cases. Dr. Bante, grateful for your time. First, what could be accounting for the high cases in bilharzia this year?
Okay, thank you very much. Bilharzia is a water-related infection or disease, and it usually occurs in...
First, what could be accounting for the high cases in bilharzia this year?
Okay, thank you very much. Bilharzia is a water-related infection or disease, and it usually occurs in freshwater bodies. So infection or disease, and it usually occurs in freshwater bodies. So
and we are having floods in some part of the countries. All these put together, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana has already recommended that the country should have an emergency relief and public health fund set aside purposely to deal with such disasters.
Alex Gabi Hotoje is the MP for Central Tong.
This is our document for you, and it's part of my constituency. It's an island, it's fully surrounded by water, and within it you still have creeks. This is what you see. You see these houses. That is the house of the assembly member, and with the water here, there are even reptiles like snake. So if you don't take time, you can easily be bitten by a snake. My fear too is that this morning it rained cat and dog. So apart from the man-made situation, which brought about the flood, the natural element is also rearing its ugly head. And this one we pray to God to save us.
The Dufia of the Bakpa Avadiwe Kome, Togbi Sakpiti V, is appealing to government to equip NADMO so they can be able to bring enough relief items to the affected communities.
I was able to organize some few boats to do the evacuation. I safe here now. We have a lot of concerns, we have a lot of problems that we need to solve as individuals, and so we are asking for a lot of organizations. Currently, our school is no more in session. The students are in the day of evacuation. I did not see anything from NADMO, so I'm asking the government to equip NADMO so that they can act. They can have their emergency team BFAC. I have to raise my own resources with my assembly member to do a whole lot of things. And you can see, taking care of about 1,200 people it's not a child play. The last time the vice president was here, the assistant director general of NADMO lied that he was able to evacuate the people, which he didn't. Not even a single life jacket was given. I wanted to meet that young man one-on-one on TV or anywhere. The way he was able to do the evacuation, he should tell us. My people know that I am the one with the assembly member who do the evacuation with the help of other chiefs and citizens. So I don't know why he will be lying to the whole the general public that they were able to resource, do the evacuation and other things.
The Director General of Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuadi, who also told the area, pledged to make sure that affected residents of the flood are provided psychological support and adequate health care to make sure that they are able to pull through the traumatic experience of the flood.
We know that there have been psychological trauma, and so we have also engaged our psychological society, and I believe that this week they will also be here with their mental health team to ensure that they provide you the necessary psychological support as the October requested.
The Pharmaceutical Society has however donated hundreds of medical supplies worth 100,000 Ghana cedis and relief items to all the communities in the Central Tongue district and promises to mobilize more for the affected district. Ivy Satoji, JoyNews, Abadiwe Kome.
The dangerous proximity of galamsey and sand-winning activities near water bodies continue to severely impact the operations of the Ghana Water Company Limited, resulting in up to 50% treatment losses, particularly in the western region. The managing director of the company, Dr. Clifford Brymer, disclosed this during the 2023 edition of the company's Accounting to the Customer initiative in Accra. He emphasized the gravity of the situation, revealing that wastewater from mining firms in the western region surpasses the quality of water in the Ghana Water Company Limited's reservoirs. My colleague Carlos Coloni was there for JoyNews.
The 2023 Accounting to the Customer event by the Ghana Water Company Limited, GWCL, saw the presence of Dr. Freda Prempe, the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, alongside a Deputy Amidu Isahaku Chinia. It brought together staff and customers from all 13 operational regions to Accra, with each region showcasing their innovations aimed at improving water quality and customer satisfaction. Speaking at the event, Managing Director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Engineer Dr. Clifford Bryma, expressed his concerns about the adverse effect of galamsey and sand winning activities, highlighting that wastewater from mining firms surpasses the quality of water in the company's reservoirs.
One is galamsey. Some of our stations, because of the high turbidity levels, instead of doing 5% process loss and having 95% as clean water pushed into the system, will do as much as 50% process losses. And so between the 95% and the 50%, the 45%, the customers that were supposed to supply with it, who is going to do that? Water is not available for us to push in. And that's the challenge that we have in some of the centers, especially if you go to Takoradi. It's a big issue for us. Surprisingly, the chief manager and his team, I asked them to do a test of the quality of the water that the mines discharge and throw away. They went to do the tests, and the quality is far better than the one that we have in our reservoir that we're supposed to be using to treat it for you.
Dr. Bryma also pointed out that revenue losses due to illegal connections and illicit dealings by some unscrupulous staff and customers are among the significant challenges hindering the company's smooth operations.
A customer had his meter that was not read over a period, and our staff had the courage to talk to the customer that the readings on your meter is so high that if you want to bill you, you pay more. He negotiated with the customer to pay 1,500 out of 3,300 or 3,500 thereabouts. And this 1,500 is meant to go into his pocket. Unknowing to him, he was being monitored from day one.
Despite these challenges, Dr. Bryma maintained that the company is making substantial progress in terms of revenue and water quality. Despite these challenges, Dr. Bryma maintained that the company is making substantial progress in terms of revenue and water quality.